Welcome to the first live episode of Elevated Dialogue here on the Unkle Jr. Network. I am the Unkle Jr., and on the panel today, we have Antoine Christopher, Coach Dwayne Dwyer, JL, and Victor, the Code Viziant. Thank you all for joining us today. If you have not already done so, subscribe, hit that like button, and hit the notification button so you can see when we drop new videos. If this is your first time here on the platform, thank you for joining us. Welcome, and you are in for a treat. What we're going to be talking about today is why is it hard for men to find quality women to marry? But before we do that, we're going to start with what does quality look like in a woman? Some of us have been married, been divorced, get ready to be married again, all these different things. But I like to start off this show with this question. So, whoever going to start, what does it look like? What does equality look like in a woman?
Antoine.
Yeah,
It's on you, buddy. Hey.
Well, seeing as I'm the one on the panel here. All right. Oh boy, let me see. First live thing. Let me see. Quality of a woman. Well, I think she needs to have realistic expectations, right? To her, she has to have accountability for her actions. Good morals, values, has an opinion, integrity. I think she needs to know how. I think today modern women need to know how to dress, conduct themselves in public. I think they need to, and I'm not talking. I think they need to express themselves as women and come across as women. I don't think they need to come across with competing, with a competing mindset, because they're really not competing. At least men don't look at them like that, right? So I think once they have their morals, values in check, and integrity, and willing to take accountability for their own actions and what comes out of their mouth, and being able to, I wouldn't say be submissive and all that. That's like really, I find that a very, I don't know, I just don't like that word. But being able to get along with who they choose as a mate and who we choose as well. That's it.
That's it.
That's it.
It don't matter how tall she is, how short she is.
Oh, well, listen, if you want to get into spam, well, let's
I was just asking.
It does matter, all right? Because that matters because, listen, if I was a woman and I had an ugly face, I would damn give them a body to look at, right? Because I ain't got nothing else to work with, straight up. So being fit matters. It says a lot about you, right? Nobody wants 2 tons of fun. Who's rolling that over a threshold? All right? And I think women need to take responsibility for that. Today in this modern world, fitness is in. You have to know how to take the fork out of your mouth, right? And you know what? You need to know what to put in it. And, yes, every day a broken clock is right twice a day. But in general, men don't want fat women, so you have to be in shape. Just like a girl doesn't want a guy that's not on his purpose, making money, doing what he needs to do to provide for his family, and holding down his fort, right? And there's requirements for that. Women, the hotter the woman, the more requirements they want. And I don't blame them, right? I don't blame a woman for that. As a matter of fact, if a woman's hot, she deserves the best product. I mean, I would like a little bit of brains in there. I mean, because, it can only go so far. But I think that's important, very important, especially with today and how, for myself, I live a very active life. I like to do things. I'm not this guy that watches TV a lot. I'll put it on while I'm drawing or something as entertainment, background noise. But that's very important that a woman conducts herself and takes care of herself, especially if she's single. It's true with fishing. You need a good sized worm, right? I was that hook gonna stay in the water forever. And be realistic about your expectations. When people,
I ain't never heard that analogy before.
But it's true. I'm just saying, you want a guy that makes 100K. I hope you look the part. Because the last time I checked, I've never seen a fat woman get out of a Ferrari. So, pick your choices. That's how it goes down.
So what you saying is one of the qualities that you think that that men should look for, or actually what makes a quality, actually what does quality look like in a woman? One of the things for you is their wellness or their size or their fitness level.
Why else would I go over and say hi? What else is going to get me there? Their brain? I can't see that. And even as fine as they are, they may open their mouth and I might not want to be with that woman because she may become ugly all of a sudden like this. So the looks, don't tell me looks is not what's going to make you walk over to a woman and say hi. You're not going to go and say, ooh, her personality is great. You don't even know nothing. Something's got to get you over there. Some sort of attraction. Okay, maybe you could get set up with a friend, but you're still going to ask your friend, oh, what does she look like? Like, what does she look like? Right? So that's just it. I believe, yes, you should be on your A game for that, especially if you're single. And what type of man do you want? Let's face it, broke men get fat bitches. Let's be real. If you're going to say it real. And it's true. The average man doesn't go, I can't wait to get me a fat woman. Ooh, can't wait. Right? And generally speaking, baby mamas is not their first choice. If you're working on your purpose, you're becoming the best man possible. You're going to the gym. You're taking care of yourself. You want somebody to complement that. You do. I'm not saying, like I said, not all, but generally speaking, the men I'm around, the people I'm around, that's what I hear from them. And be nice.
All things are true. Anybody else want to chime in?
I don't. I guess all love Antoine, but I don't agree with that. I think it's about the physical part, like health and wellness. Like it's all about perspective because there's plenty of wealthy men out there that love plus size women.
Is it generally, or you're speaking anecdotal? Is it generally, or you're speaking anecdotal?
I think generally, like we've shifted the idea of beauty here in the last couple of generations.
Wait a minute, I'm not talking about. I just want to make sure you're clear when you say generally. So you're saying generally a man wants a big woman?
No, I think okay. We're attracted to what we're around the most. That's just.
I'm talking generally, though. We're talking generally, right?
And so if you're generally around larger women, you're going to be attracted to larger women.
Oh, okay. So you're saying environment has a place.
Environment has a part to do with that. But
okay, I say that.
On to what does quality look like in a woman? And I think I'm going to take a more philosophical sense. I think it comes with someone who brings you peace, that brings light into your life. And but what
gets you over there? Let's be real. What gets you over there?
It might be the outer shell a little bit, but once again, quality. Right. I mean, quality. You can look at a Ferrari, but if it doesn't have an engine in it, that's not a quality car.
What gets you over there, though? I'm just saying what gets you over there. I get the whole thing with the Ferrari may not have an engine over there, but you're still going to look at it from across the street.
Yeah. So then,
as long as we're being general.
But the same thing, my environment. If I've been around larger women all my life, and that's what I've been attracted, then her shell is going to be different than something that you may be attracted to. So quality comes from what your perspective in your environment is. So personally, for me, I think that it has to do with if this woman brings you peace, if she helps you elevate your life. Like I'm married. I've been married almost 5 years. And what made me come in from out of the woods was my wife brought me peace.
And you were attracted to her first, right?
Yeah. And the reason and the thing is, she was not the prototypical woman that a lot of guys went for in college. My wife is almost 5'9", and she's thick, but I love that about her, And I saw something, and after I got to know her, I was like, wow, outside of her outer shell is her inner beauty that attracted me. That's what brought quality, and having those deep, in-depth conversations. I was able to watch a TikTok the other day, and we are able in this age now with cell phones and all types of technology, we are able to create this facade about ourselves online and attract people from all around the world. Pretty is not some just rare thing now. Anybody can go into a doctor's office and come out looking like Denzel or Beyonce. Let's be real. With enough money, you can change what quality looks like. But at the end of the day, if somebody behind closed doors, when you start having conversations and you start dealing with people on the regular, they're going to start to find out, if the cream rises or not. So I think quality honestly boils down to who you are as a person and what your moral and your values boil down to. And if they align with a specific person, that's what quality looks like in my own personal opinion. And like I said, that's my opinion.
Right. But you still got to be attracted to get over there.
So yes, Antoine, you got to be
Okay.
attracted.
As long as we're being general, because I'm just saying, as long as you're being general and what gets you over there, I don't care about that brain part is great, but I'm just long as you include you were attracted to your wife first. You were attracted to your wife first before she opened her mouth, right? That's okay. That's all I'm saying.
So after getting over there, after getting over there,
After getting over there,
yeah, I think I agree 100% with Jo. There you can there's some things that you're going to have to get through in the midst of conversation, understanding and learning one another. Part of that is just understanding is whether or not we are going to be able to dialogue at such, like for me, I like to have fun. I'm gonna be honest with you. So part of that quality thing is just the ability to disconnect from the world from time to time and just have fun. Everybody has a little kid in them to a certain degree. Can we laugh? Can we enjoy the time that we spend together? Going back to what JL said, what are your morals and your what are your moral values, the things, what's important to you? For me, no, this is nothing new. Everybody on this panel know that I love God. So do we have that? You know, do we share in that ability? I can't say, and this was a question I had that we talked about, not on this panel, but another panel I'm a part of. Is that a deal breaker for you? Unfortunately, I got to say, yeah. Simply because that kind of helps to shape morals and values and things of that nature. So how you treat your parents is another thing. That's something else that becomes very significant because that kind of sheds the light on who you are and all of those other things. So I look at family dynamics, I look at behavior, I look at what your emotional intelligence look like. Like when you get mad, do you become a different beast? You know what I'm saying? Or you know what I'm saying? Those things are all important. So we can't take all of those off the table. We can't just say, well, we're going to get past that because they're pretty. No, pretty goes out the door after the after high. Pretty goes out the door. I'm just going to be honest with you. And so when we start looking at these different things, we have to be compatible to such a degree that we can have healthy conversation where we can build together. That's the last part I got to put in there because if I can't build with you, I can't be with you. That's just what it looks like. And I think that right there, that's the solidifying piece. If we can't build together, and I talk about this when I teach Bible study, if we have one vision in the house, then we're growing in the right path. So right path. If we have two visions, well, two division. Simple math, right? So one vision, are we working together in that one vision so that we can build together? Because here's what's going to happen. You're either going to choose to grow or life is going to make you grow. So either we're going to grow together, we're going to grow apart. And that's just a simple fact.
what say you, Vic?
So, what does quality look like in a woman? So, to kind of piggyback off what Coach said, I use a word that's very simple: participation. If you do not participate in what is being done, you know what I'm saying, to lead the relationship, then you almost like a co-conspirator. You know what I'm saying? Like you're in an unhealthy competition with your own expectations at that point. You know what I'm saying? So I look at it like the will to participate in certain activities, being spontaneous. It's plenty of pretty women that don't get up and do anything. You know what I'm saying? But just be pretty. Some of them just put on makeup and take pictures, and that's it. You know what I'm saying? They don't get out and do anything. So simply put, I think participation and activities gives you a better insight into the individual to see what qualities they have. You know what I'm saying? Because you could meet somebody, they might just be a good person to be fun to hang out with, and that's it. You know what I'm saying? And some people you only going to talk to them when you're in the car. Some of them you only going to talk to them when you got a social setting. You know what I'm saying? Because you want to kind of keep that person in, you know what I'm saying, in the right space so you can see the best version of them or multiple versions of them. Because just like you said before, you know what I'm saying, you don't know what kind of beast that person might be when they get upset. And do you have what it takes to be there with them at their worst? You know what I'm saying? So like attraction ain't no different than trying to look at fruit, you know what I'm saying, in the produce department. Like, how many times you grabbed the apple and you thought that was the one, and then you flipped it over and it was dented up or beat up or whatever, you know what I'm saying? So like attraction just, I don't know. I think that's so subjective. That's why I always say all things are true, because what you know what I'm saying makes somebody else think somebody else is hot or whatever may not even matter to people like us. You know what I'm saying? So like, I don't know. I guess it's just so subjective, and I think it parries off how whole the person is that's doing the choosing. Like, if you know what you like, you know what you into. Like, if you know that you live an adrenaline junkie type of life, I don't suggest you go date a librarian. You know what I'm saying? I suggest that you kind of meet people that's already in the space of what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? And more importantly, you got to meet people while you're in your motion, not trying to jump on their motion. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't know the ins and outs of what makes that person go. Because it typically, most of us all of us sit up here are purpose-driven people. We all got multiple projects, things that we're working on, stuff that pulls us left and right, family obligations, network obligations, and things of that nature, right? So the things that we do, although it sounds like a lot, it happens in the motion of what we do naturally. You know what I'm saying? So like, if you've never gone ice fishing before, or some one-off thing, you know what I'm saying, and this person likes to do that, you got to get comfortable with that. And at some point, you got to subject yourself to what they like to do too, so you can see how good they are in their element. But attraction, I think social media, dating culture, finances, economics, and the state of where we are right now socially, I don't put too much stock in attraction. You definitely want to find somebody that you can have cooperation with. You know what I'm saying? I think cooperation is more attractive. That's the thing. As you get older, some things become more attractive and less attractive. So peace is ultimately it. If you're looking for the superficial surface stuff, there's plenty of those people out there. You know what I'm saying? So it ain't enough to just be hot.
Yeah, you mentioned cooperation. I was over here thinking about compatibility. Like, you got to be able to get along with the other person you laying next to every night, So, if you out there trying to choose a woman, no matter how fine she is, no matter how thick she is, no matter what her degree is, blah, blah, blah. Like, if y'all ain't compatible, like, it just ain't gonna work out, So
You got to like each other.
you gotta like each other. Gotta be able to get along with each other. You know what I'm saying? It's ridiculous. But I'm gonna move on to the next question. And the next question is
Hey, I'm just looking at the feedback. Let me read what my boy Ace said before we go. The words
Go ahead.
participate in cooperation, what you describe sounds like a softer word for compliance, bro. Don't hold back. Listen, don't hold the punches. Hey, man, put that up there. Put that up there right there. Hey, look, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to say it because he's right. Hey, look, man, whose vision are we following here? Because I don't know no men that can't wait for a woman to show up with a plan to take charge, right? And if there's men like that, we're not friends with them. Okay. So if they do show up and you got to have a plan, you got to be able to stand on what you believe in. You know what I'm saying? You got to, this is why I say, like, if you're already in motion and doing your thing, people got to fall in. They got to find their place. They got to participate. Because if you're on the same sheet of music with that person and you got one unified vision, like Coach was talking about, somebody got to comply. Somebody got to submit. Really, both people submit and comply to each other too. You know what I'm saying? But for the most part, who's ever in the lead, if that person doesn't submit to the person that's in the lead first, you're going to have issues.
There you go. Where can men find these women at? Where are all these good quality men? I know you guys talked about it earlier. You mentioned geography, location, different things like that. Like Antoine's in California. Vic's in Texas. I'm in North Carolina. We're all in different parts of the country. How does demographics play a part in where these quality women are, or are they in everywhere, in every city, in every state?
I think
Mm,
demographics plays a big part, right? I mean, here in California, dating is brutal, brutal, right? Compared to, I'm sure, a small town where people know each other, word of mouth, friends of friends. Um, but here in California, it's brutal, because everybody's here with a dream. So to find the one or that significant other, yeah, it's not an easy thing, right? Because there's always
And
one
the,
harder than the next,
and I think
better than the
to kind of piggyback off of what you said, Antoine, like everybody's out there with a dream, and I think to segue into that, I think it has to deal with like where you are in your life. I mean, you can't expect to find a partner if you still out there trying to find yourself. A lot of people, that old quote goes like, "Oh, they complete me." No, it should not be like that. You need to come together as a full functioning adult before you go into that type of partnership. Because if you're sitting there trying to, we've all been in the military or been in some type of like organization where there's been leadership. And if the leader's trying to find themselves while trying to carry out a mission, you about to be up shit's creek without a paddle. Plain and simple. So in order to find these quality women, I think you have to be whole as a man, because we can go back to the Bible and we can go back to history. Women look at men, historically as providers, as being the breadwinners and things like that. And that shift has changed over the last, couple hundred years or whatever. But you have to be in a place where you're willing to to be in a relationship like that. You got to have your stuff together. Like, if we've had the conversations about dating single moms and things like that, but if you're not in the mindset to be a father and especially raise someone that's not from your loins, that woman may not be for you. And on the flip side of that, you could be a single father, and a woman comes in your life, and if you're not willing to accept her as being a secondary mom or a secondary parent to that child, then that might not work. So I think it's all about where you are in your journey called life, and being able and mature enough to realize the things that you want to participate and cooperate with, like my man Vic said. So that's what I think.
Where are these women at though? Like, we ran down a couple of different qualifications.
Australia,
Where can
mate.
men go to find these women? Go ahead, coach.
Australia, mate. No, I'm joking.
Australia.
I was thinking about that. I was thinking,
No, I'm joking, man. I'm joking. I don't think there's. I don't think this is a geographic location. I'm gonna go back to what JL just said. This isn't like any spot on the map. There is no Mecca where all of the best women for men to come and choose from. That doesn't exist, right? Here's the thing. This place that we're talking about is a place like JL was just describing, a place where we as men have gotten to the point that we have found that level of peace that we mentioned previously. So what I like to do, I like to talk about it from the perspective of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. If I am living in a place of physiological needs or safety needs, then I can't start talking about esteem and belonging or self-actualization. In fact, here's the deal. If I am looking for something up here and I'm still stuck down here, the only thing I'm going to do is use whoever I encounter so that we can actually make it look like this exists. But that's not what it looks like. So what I have to do is I have to get to the point to where I build myself up through studying, through probably going sitting on talking to somebody's couch, probably calling up one of you brothers, venting to you guys, just getting to the point of a higher sense of awareness, having a better understanding of who I am, getting to the place that I have found peace in my life. Stop playing the blame game, all that other great stuff, so that once I get to the point of love and belonging and esteem and all that great stuff, now I'm looking for someone who's there as well, because that works in just the opposite. If I'm here and I find somebody here, all they're going to do is, like Antoine likes to say, they're just going to use me for what I got. So we have to, what it looks like is getting yourself to that point, to a psychological place of wellness. And then, like my man saying right here, Antoine is saying, investing in yourself. invest in myself till I get to this place of psychological wellness, then I do not start looking like, like Antoine say, I don't go look for a Ferrari that has a busted engine or busted tailpipe or something down here, right? I need to look for something that is, like we talked about previously, compatible. Somebody that speaks the same language that I'm speaking. Somebody that can dream consistently and comparably to where I'm dreaming at. Once I have those conversations, those are the conversations I stay in. Don't matter what she look like. Don't matter what she went and bought this past weekend so she wake in the club. None of that stuff matters. The only thing that matters is the conversation that exists after hello. And that, my friend, you're not going to find in any zip code. You're going to find it in a place we call peace.
Exactly. And I think, like, if you're at peace with you, let's say you're working on yourself and you're doing all this blah 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 stuff. Yeah. Okay, that's over with. Let's really get to it, right? You already worked on yourself. And working on yourself is a life journey. You're not always going to be, it's a life journey. You learn from everything. You learn when your first child is born, you learn something new about yourself, all that sort of stuff. I get it, right? But if you're on your purpose and you're doing what you need to do, which I encourage every young gentleman out there to do, find who you are, get on the thing. Yeah, go after the money because the pickings are a lot better. I'll tell you straight up, right? But then after you do all that, you have to find somebody that matches you personally, right? Because you're already set in your ways. You know what it takes to make what you're making and what you're doing, right? You're doing it. You're on your purpose. So you have to find somebody that complements that, right? There's going to be those arguments. Everybody has arguments. Everybody has differences, right? Something's going to trigger something. And part of being with that person is getting to know them, is triggering them, because that's how you get to know how they're going to react in certain situations, right? So but when you can only recognize that person when you are that person, right? So all that stuff is great. Learning about yourself, it's great. But when you get to the level that you know where you're at and where you want to be and what you want in life, you're going to recognize that at least a little bit in someone or the opposite person to go over there, because you see something that you see in yourself, because you recognize that they're on their purpose. And that becomes attractive to you. Now, after they open their mouth and they say shit, then you're gonna know, okay, maybe I recognize something a little bit wrong, right? You're gonna put that person in a category or that woman in a category. That's what I'm saying. So once you get to your purpose and you're on your mission and you're going to work every day, you're building yourself up. You're making 50, looking to make 80 next year, looking for the promotion. You're on your purpose. You're climbing. So you're gonna recognize that woman doing the same thing. Now, coming together, having that date, making arrangements, that's where you find out if her brain's attractive, if her personality matches your personality, if she can cook, stuff like that.
All things are true. But it seems like what all you guys are saying, it seems like that, but before, not necessarily before, but where men can go to find these quality women is that you have to be at a certain place mentally.
Yeah.
And then based off of that, are there any like physical location? Because like back in the day, people like, yeah, good girl in church, you know what I mean? Go good girl at the library, you know what I mean? Some of those, standard things. Are there places like that men can go to start looking?
That was a myth before anyway.
What about Bumble?
I'm glad I don't know about that, because
it's a dating app.
Listen, it's all changed today. Dating has changed today. Where you go and all this.
So as far as like geography is concerned, geography doesn't change until your mindset changes. You know what I'm saying? Because you pick and choose where you want to be seen. If you want to be seen at all. I think more importantly, where men can go to find these quality women is stand on your course. Whatever your plan is, the person that you're supposed to meet and be attracted to will appear along the way. You know what I'm saying? Because you can go find attractive in a completely different direction. And it might be drugs, alcohol, and crime associated with it. You know what I'm saying? You might get a super toxic situation, I think that if you're true to yourself, then that'll change. Now, when you start breaking it down into tiers, you know what I'm saying? Because men in their 20s and 30s don't have the same type of resources as retired men from 45 to 60 years old. And most of those men, they probably go over to Thailand. You know what I'm saying? They go find something. They probably go somewhere to the Philippines. You know what I'm saying? And shoot, take their retirement money and go over there and start a family or something where it's cheap. I think economics plays a role in where you find quality women at too, because if you go into a place where like I used to date this girl that lived in California. She had a roommate situation. They were paying like $2,700 a month, and you know what I'm saying. She was a single stepmother, pretty much. You know, because the other kids was there, and I'm like, nah, fam, I can't do that. You know what I'm saying? So, like, you got to understand that what the proximity. Going back to what Coach said, the proximity of who you're around determines where you shop too. You know what I'm saying? If you're actively looking, because if you want to go and meet someone that's in a, I guess in a setting where there's not a lot of traffic, not a lot of commute time, so that person's not uber obligated to something else versus you, because you can go to a place where everybody's moving all the way around. They might be available, but they got small windows. And what if you in a place where, you know, like you got more time, freedom, and money, and you don't want just a weekend hookup with somebody? You know what I'm saying? Maybe you just want to kick it with somebody, you know, on a Tuesday when everybody else goes to work, you know? So, but I think that the most important thing is that first work on yourself, have a mindset that associates with what you're trying to do in the future, and really reverse engineer your outcome. Like if you know that you're going to retire at a certain age and you're going to live a certain type of way, well, if you got that type of detail, where are you retiring at, right? So maybe you should start frequenting, you know, different areas that kind of resemble the vision of what you got. So if you think you're going to retire someplace tropical, right? You probably want to go to tropical places when you have time, just to kind of get pieces of your vision to start kind of filling in like puzzle pieces, right? Because you might go to Honduras, you might go to the Bahamas, you might go to an island that's somewhere in the West Indies or something. You know what I'm saying? But tropical is the place. So destination, environment, you got to start seeing it. You got to start smelling it. You got to start doing things that make it real to you first. So if you feel like you're going to work the rest of your life and retire, you know what I'm saying, and while still shopping for a mate, I don't know if you're worried about the right thing, because the mate shouldn't be your goal. You know what I'm saying? Because if you got a 9-to-5 consumer mentality and never migrate into becoming a business person, then you will not recognize your own worth at some point. You will not understand your stock. You know what I'm saying? So I think you got to keep progressing, get more resources so you can change your zip code. You could change your geography. You could change the background of your life, like for real, and not just doing it on your cover page, on your Facebook page or something, and actually start living in that, being able to go to places and spending time in the communities that you know that you want to explore and just see what they have to offer. The comments is popping right now. Hey, the shade, what's good, bro? You know what I'm saying? This is one of my guys that's been on my Facebook timeline for a very long time, and he said quality women will find you when you are optimizing the quality of your life. Yes, if you're working on you, the right people will show up along your path. So let's see what else we got on here.
As long as you're not in la la land about it, right? Because you know, don't go praying for one and thinking, oh, you know, I'm praying for it, so it's gonna come. You got to put yourself in the environment too, right? We're not talking about I'm just gonna keep doing me.
Yeah, that's what I just said. Like okay. I said, you got to move. Like if you
move in that direction.
If you envision that you're gonna retire in someplace tropical, right? And you know that 30 years from now, however long you got it. In the meantime, start putting like some little vacations that fill in the tropical requirement, because you might go to Mexico and see something. You might go to Hawaii and see something. You might go, you see what I'm saying? And all of these places have tropical type of vibes to it. But if you never go to these places, then you're doing your own dream a disservice by not actually going to go set foot in another place so you can see how it's supposed to go.
But at the same time, like when you visit those tropical places, and you're on vacation, you got to realize that's vacation. They don't look like that.
And that's why I said not vacation. You got to go there and spend time in these places.
Yeah, I ain't be actually vested in it.
Exactly. Like you got to, when we're talking about retirement, you have to be invested. We're not talking about vacations no more. We're talking about filling in the we're trying to make our own squares light up on the sidewalk like Billie Jean. You know what I'm saying? And if you don't take the steps, then your vision of retiring in a tropical place, it's not that believable. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know that there's an opportunity at some point in the future for me to live out of the country. And I got Jamaica and Ghana, you know what I'm saying, as potentially, you know what I'm saying, the spots. So you know what I have to do? At some point, I'm gonna go to Ghana. I've already been to Jamaica a couple of times. So I'm gonna keep traveling until I can say, well, I had an experience here and experience my options. Like, my will, based off my mindset, to change my geography and go be in other places and experience different cultures, learn the language of the culture that you know what I'm saying, that may be part of my future or whatever, is a very key point. Because Coach spoke earlier about people learning the language of the person that they with, right? And one of the biggest issues that we have as Americans, and I always say this, we go to other countries and get mad when they don't speak English, right? But we want different outcomes, and we don't make people learn our language. And we're supposed to be in the lead. Now, we should already understand where we're going. That's kind of implied, right? If you're traveling some other place, you submit to the culture where you're going to, so you can understand how to navigate the culture properly and be credible where you are. You know what I'm saying? But if you never have the experience and you never go and see how people live differently than where you are, you won't understand what's out there. Some of y'all, you know what I'm saying, that might be listening that wants to go to a different country. What you waiting for? You know what I'm saying? Go out there and go visit, go see it. You know what I'm saying? Go smell it, go be in it. You know what I'm saying? Change your geography. And if it's in line with what you're trying to accomplish between now and retirement, it can become a real thing.
Yeah, I like what you're saying there, Vic, and I agree with you 100%. Keep in mind that culture drives response as well. That's something else that we have to understand. Different cultures respond to men differently. I'm sure a couple of you, I think we talked about it before. I've been to Korea twice. And one of the things I would do is I would watch Koreans in their natural setting, and not just to make it specifically about them, but one of the things that I've seen is how their wives respond to their husband. Very un-American like. So again, when we start talking about places where we can go, you have to also understand what it is that you're looking for when you're going there. Like Vic said, go and observe the culture, look at how they respond to one another. When I was a young soldier, oh my God, I think I was like a young corporal. One of my chiefs took me home, Puerto Rican guy. And so he took me home. He said, "Hey, man, I'm gonna take you home. We're gonna eat dinner. My wife expecting all that great stuff." Man, we walked in the house. Food is on the table. You know what I'm saying? She greeted him with a drink, and I'm looking. I'm like, man, where they do that at? You know what I'm saying? Because yo, I'm getting ready to go back home.
In America.
Yeah, but again, it's a different culture, right? You know, when you start looking, and I'm not saying, and I want to make sure I'm clear in the air. I'm not saying that that's what right looks like. I'm not saying that that's what wrong looks like. I'm saying it's personal preference. If that's what you want, and if that's what you're striving for, then by all means, then you may want to, look for that in a mate. But again, like we talked about previously, when we start talking submission does work both ways. Because on the other hand, she does nothing manual labor. You know what I'm saying? If it has to be fixed in the house, he fixed it. Grass need to be cut, he cuts the grass. Cars need to be fixed, he fixed the car. She didn't even put gas in her car. He took the car to the gas station, gassed it up on Sundays, brought it back. That way she can drive all week in it. So it's a trade. And I think that's the key that we have to take a look at. My man Sam, I like his point. You know what I'm saying? He brought up past history, like what old heads used to say back in the day. If you want to go find a good, clean person, we joke about coming to America. You know what I'm saying? We're going here, we got to have good, clean girls over there, right? We joke about that, right? But yeah, that was an old school mentality. And I like what he said because he's completely honest. He said he got lucky. Some of us are, in fact, let's just be honest. You just happen to be at the right place at the right time. You met the perfect person and y'all were stuck together like glue since then. You know what I'm saying? And hats off, because I can appreciate that.
Hey, if you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready.
My man, there you go. And that's just it.
If you're working on yourself, luck is for the person that's been working hard to get to that opportunity to get lucky. You still have to do work in order to get lucky.
You're always gonna be working on yourself. Always. To this day, I'm still working on myself. Everybody's gonna always be working on themselves. They should be working on themselves, right? Because every day you learn something new. So you're not gonna, overnight becoming the know-it-all. Because you know what? When somebody's cup is full, I ain't learning nothing from them, and they're not gonna be in my circle because they got nothing to teach me. For them, it's their way or no way because their cup is full, right? So it's the same thing. So when people say always harp on work on yourself, well, you goddamn, it's life, man. You're supposed to work on yourself. The bills are gonna come whether you like it or not. I mean, when people dwell on this work on yourself, what the hell you expect to be doing? The light bill is not gonna be paying itself, right? And let's be honest, love doesn't pay the bills. I can't take love to pay my mortgage. That's what I'm trying to say. So after you're working on yourself, which is a journey we always talk about, let's bring it in within the environment, because you guys are all talking about traveling and this person out in Kumbaya and all that, which is great, but not everybody can get there. So let's stay within at least the United States where to look, right? At least
Antoine, you Canadian and you live in Los Angeles. Shut that shit up, man. That don't even make no sense.
What does that have to do with anything?
The question is, where can men go?
Yeah, I'm not talking about traveling to another place. We're talking about going to the United States, or we're talking about overseas. I'm just trying to narrow it down. That's all. You guys.
He just want to localize it so he can find his wife.
I mean, listen. Is that what we're talking about when you say
No.
Are we talking about?
No, we're just talking options, bro. That's it.
Okay, so options. The average guy cannot travel today. They can't. The average guy cannot travel today. Plane tickets are off the roof unless you can. You have $2,000 to blow plus room and board. The average guy can't travel. There, you can save your money to travel, and yes, I don't believe in long distance relationship. That turns into nothing, right? At the end, you go your separate ways. But within the United States, you're working on yourself. Are we talking about finding a person within the United States, that an establishment, clubs, bars? Because it has changed today. Today, dating apps is the way people do it. I'm a healthy guy. I don't really go to bars. I don't really go to the clubs. I mean, that's great in your 20s and you want to hit it and quit it and have fun. But as a mature man that's on his purpose, established, doing what I need to do, I don't need to save up money to have a wedding. I need to write a check. But that's my situation. So a realistic man that's making 50 is going to get promoted. Now he's looking for the woman of his dreams. He's looking to settle down. She has to recognize him for what he is, and he has to recognize her for what he is. People need to have realistic expectations. You know what I mean? Like I keep saying it. You want a guy that makes 100K. Do you look the part? I mean, be realistic with yourself. You know what I mean? That's all I'm saying. And that's where people need to start. Yes, you're going to work on yourself. Yes, you're on your journey. Yes, you're on your purpose. Personally, I hope you're sane about it. But at the end of the day, if we're talking of a guy that's got his purpose and he's clear on what he wants, he's got to find it. And he's going to attract it. He probably will attract it. I'm not saying he won't.
So I like where you're going here, right? And you mentioned earlier about dating apps, which for me, I am totally against, because you're going to get the best version of somebody's life, which in most cases, you're going to probably find out that they're lying anyway. However, I've known people that actually got married off a dating app. So again, it's the luck of the draw. I like what man Ace is saying here, because Ace say he wants somebody that can actually relate to his struggles in this society. But to caveat off of that, I also been in the army with people who've married foreigners, Germans, Koreans, things of that nature, and they've been married for 30 or more years. So we can learn each other's struggle if we actually are open to listening and learning from one another. So I think that's the same thing that applies when you meet somebody in this current day society as well. Because Antoine, you might live in Beverly Hills, California. You know what I'm saying? I can't relate. I was raised in the hood. You see what I'm saying?
It's brutal.
Yeah, got it. That's my point. So now
I don't recommend anybody dating out here.
But let's change the dynamics, because like I said, you brought to the table the whole dating thing. So what happens when you meet somebody who lives on the other side of the country or live in a very affluent neighborhood and you don't? You're going to have to get to the point to where you can communicate with one another and learn from each other's experiences. Or, let's just change the dynamics. What if we're not that vast apart and we live in the same city on different sides of town? One side not that good as compared to the other. So again, that open line communication, you can't get around that. I don't care where you go. You're going to have to communicate to such a degree that you understand someone else and not just trying to influence them about yours. Go ahead, Vic, you're booting up, bro. Go ahead.
So I will say this right here. You can only have what you can afford, and that ain't got nothing to do with money. You know what I'm saying? Your attitude affords you certain opportunities and experiences. Opportunities and experiences generally involve interacting with other people. So if you're not willing to do something different, you can't get something you never had. So what I'm saying when we talk about travel is that all of us can say, yeah, we can recognize the economy, but all of us recognize that you need a vacation too. So why don't you just budget according to that? You know what I'm saying? You got to put gas in your car if you got to drive every day, no matter what the cost of it is. It's no different than people still smoking cigarettes, no matter if they raise the price on them every year. You know, so people spend their money on what they value, and if you don't go to places and understand like how other cultures value each other, like what Coach was talking about, then you may be missing a piece in yourself. You know what I'm saying? That you can use in, I guess, in a leadership conversation, because it makes you a better person. You know what I'm saying? When you travel and have experience, you got to have a different type of patience, because you ain't got no networks in these places, man. You have to go have some tact. You got to be quiet. You got to be diplomatic. You got to understand that. So if you want that type of relationship, you have to go be submissive to some other culture too at some point. And that may require you getting out of your box to go do something that you've never done before. Like, Antoine, you moved from Canada, right? All of us, the other men on the panel that have joined the military at some point, we changed our demographics because we knew that the outcomes that we wanted were not in the zip codes in which we were born. You know what I'm saying? And all of you gentlemen have had an experience or are currently in an experience with your significant other, right? So that didn't happen in your backyard. So what are we talking about? All right, then.
Yeah. No, it's cool. Also, I think, if I do want to talk about the actual location, one thing that Vic always talks about is that, a good place to start is that a place where people are working on themselves. And I know you mentioned the gym before. You know what I mean?
Definitely. The gym,
I mean,
Home Depot, and Lowe's. Anything where people are working on stuff. Like, you got to think about it. When you go into places like in the gym, right? Nobody's there to shame you. They either going to offer you some advice. You can ask a total stranger for a spot. You know what I'm saying? You can ask a total stranger for some advice on, you know what I'm saying, on how to do an exercise correctly. I've been in the Home Depot and I've met so many contractors, you know what I'm saying, people that are super helpful, Now, you got to think about it. And the time of day where you go matters too. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you are a person that wants to socialize somewhere and like go to, let's say you want to go to a bar. If you want to meet a quality individual and you're mature, like most of the men up here are mature men of a certain age or a certain demographic and whatever responsibilities you have, right? But let's say if you were single, I would recommend going to a bar between the hours of 1 and 4, because rich people go sit down and eat at that time of day. People with resources sit down and eat that
cocktail hour.
Yeah, cocktail hours. You know what I'm saying? You got to start adjusting your schedule. You know what I'm saying? Because people that are in different income brackets do different things with their lunch hour. Some people got, like dates on golf courses, a tennis course, a racquetball course, and stuff like that. Some people have conference calls. Some people have like an open window where like they do consults. And depending on what type of person you're trying to meet, the time of day is you know what I'm saying, is very vital to that. Look at that. Home Depot and Lowe's be popping. They see it. Hey, look, when you see people looking at light fixtures, you kind of get a gauge of how big the house is. You because like you're not gonna go in no 2-bedroom apartment getting a chandelier. You know what I'm saying? Like what do they do? That you got to pay attention to those things. I look at what people got in their carts and everything. You know what I'm saying?
What about Bed Bath and Beyond? I'm kind of liking that too. I ever get my pots over
you can go there by yourself. Like Like these places that I'm naming, I go there with my lady. You know what I'm saying? So like, I don't know what you're doing at Bath and Body Works by yourself, fam. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, it's Bed Bath and Beyond, man. They got great
whatever.
stuff.
All of
That's
it.
one of my favorite
That
stores.
doesn't help. You know what I'm
say.
saying? Like what you might want to be shopping online at the Sharper Image catalog. You know what I'm saying?
No, I like going there. It's got good stuff.
Good luck, Antoine. Hey, look, Lowe's is adult towards us. See, you meet other adults that's working on things. You see what I'm saying? Like people there are generally like every time you go to Home Depot or Lowe's, even if you've been there 1,000 times, at some point you see somebody with one of those aprons on, whether it be orange or blue, you're like, hey, I'm trying to find such and such. And then somebody easily points you to somewhere else. How many times have you seen people just standing, waiting to talk to the customer service rep? And it's not like they can't find the item. They can, but they really want to talk to another human being that can point them right to it. So interaction is vital. And places where people are generally working on stuff and they have to work as a team, work with other people, Lowe's, Home Depot, and the gym.
Hey, there you go. Hey, JL, you the only one up here married right now. So where did you ain't got to get too deep into your business if you don't want to. You know, I assume if you're married, you have a quality woman. You've always talked highly of her. So where did you meet your woman?
Please don't say that.
If you want to share. If you don't want to, please don't. I am not trying to get you in trouble. You gotta, this camera gonna cut off in a little bit. So
no, but I met my wife through a mutual friend at a birthday party. She's an NC State grad, and I was friends with a friend of her friend, and we just happenstance. And going back to what Vic said about cooperation and participation and working on yourself, we broke up a couple of times before we finally got it together. And one of the things is like we had a heart to heart before we got back finally together, before we got on the path. And I was like, well, why'd you break up with me, the second time? She was like, because me and my wife were 5 years apart. And she told me the way I was moving in the world, it showed her that I was ready for something greater, and that intimidated her. Like she wasn't on that path yet. She still had like another year of college and like was trying to figure out who she was. I was getting ready to go overseas to work. I had been out of school for about 2 years and I was on my grind. And I feel like with her, it was a lot of like showing her like, this is what we're trying to build together. So yeah, I mean, I met my wife through a friend of a friend, and this is before, dating apps got really big and things like that. And it was just, like you guys said, I was working on myself. Like I was in college, I was finishing up, I was working 4 jobs. So I didn't have a lot of free time for somebody who was like, hey, let's go get drunk tonight. Nah, bro, I got a dissertation to write, or I got this project I got to finish for journalism school. So, I was working on myself, and I attracted people, and I attracted a woman who aligned with that. So yeah, that's how we met.
That's nice. I like that.
Hey, all things true. Sam said he hit mine up on Instagram. Sliding in the DMs might be the best path. Hey, all things are true.
Yeah, hey,
I'm sure there are some people that didn't got together and hooked up through Instagram.
Oh yeah,
shout out to Sam Gotti, man. He been one of my my Facebook friends, and I've met him in person a couple of times. For like the last, man, it was crazy. It's like 10 years, I think. I've been friends with a lot of people on my Facebook timeline, like I could talk to him on my phone if I wanted to, and catch up. And this goes to feed all of that, because when you start harnessing all of this different experience, it's coming from credible places. So if you want to refute it, that's on the individual. But like we have realities that reflect the conversation. You know what I'm saying? We have people that live certain realities that reflect the conversation. This is authentic in terms of the fact that we've lived a lot of different lives of ourselves. Some people remember us with and without hair. You know what I'm saying? Some of y'all ain't. Well, Coach, I don't know if they ever remember you with hair, but they remember you with the gray though. You know what I'm saying? So, but hey, that's just what it is. Like there's a space and time where you fit in somebody else's reality, and that's it. And you can't get out of that space. That's why you have to keep changing your environment too. You know what I'm saying? So you can go be refined. That way, the next time they bump into you, if you bump into them again, or if they see you again, or you wind up interacting, they know that you're evolving and you're moving forward. You know what I'm saying? They're not waiting on you to give them advice to go work on themselves. They're watching you doing it, and you're leading by example. And I think that that's very key to being seen, because when you lead by example, guess what you do? You stick out. And what JL was just talking about in terms of him working on himself, and his wife saw what he was doing to set himself up. She wanted to partner with him and cooperate in that regard. You know what I'm saying? Because you have to have a level of patience, you know. Mm-hmm.
So to bring all of this back together, we talked about what quality looks like in a woman. We talked about a couple other different things, but so why is it hard for these men to find these quality women to marry? See, a lot of guys out there that want to be married, but some of the complaints is they can't find the quality. They can find a lot of women for the short term, but not actually find someone to actually marry. So I don't want to get into necessarily if it's man or woman's fault at
I
the
blame
same
social
time.
media and all that.
What's that?
I blame social media on that. I think that people have a lot more access to what's out there, so they feel like they don't have to settle down right then and there.
So
And
you think men
too.
So-
There's a lot more access to there's a lot more access. So people are seeing a lot of things, and they're not committing themselves to this because there's always something out there better, right? At least they think that there's something better. The grass is always green on the other side, but how good are you watering the grass you're standing on, right? I mean, let's be real.
But for the men,
right?
why is it hard for the men to find the quality women to get married to?
I think because women, I don't think it's hard. I think it's hard for them to find it because they're so few and far apart, right? A lot of women I find come with baggage, right? Rather that be in a form of kid, or they're hotter than they think they are, right? And some of them are down to earth, but they're just not all there mentally. So they're always coming with something, right? So, and I believe that, and men too. Don't get me wrong. There's some guys up there that talk good game, right? Some of these bad boys should write a book, man, and cash in on their skills, because they be tarnishing a lot of good women out there. God damn.
So what was dating like? What was dating
like? Cashing in on that shit. God damn.
So Antoine, did you date when you were still living in Canada?
Yeah. Oh, dude, what do you think? Have you ever been? You always talk about Canada like it's
no. I'm asking questions.
What do you think happens in Canada that's so different than the United States?
No, because see, I don't assume anything. I'm asking.
What do you think? It's a country like any other. Of course you date.
No, I'm asking you some questions because
I had my whole phase. I had my whole phase. I had my fat stage. I had the whole deadly stage.
That's not what I'm going to ask you, Antoine. That's none of what you're saying is what I'm about to ask you. That's what I'm saying. This is the part where I'm talking, and I want you to just respond for the audience so they can get it. So, what's dating culture like in Canada when you were there?
I would say the women are a lot more pleasant.
Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So can you give us like a positive experience that you had dating?
They smile. They smile. They do the simple things. They smile. They're okay with being courted. You know what I mean? They don't need the big fancy 6-course meal. And what you actually buy them for dinner, they eat, right, in front of you, and they very well mannered. Right? It's a different than when I came here. It was a bit of a moving here was a bit of a culture shock, because I was really like, wow, okay, that's a little bit so and so, and yeah, okay, please and thank you, all right, that's a little bit. I mean, there was a lot of changes, but over there, most Canadians would tell you more women are a little bit more pleasant. They have
What age were you when you left Canada?
Jeez, I've been here 34, 35 years, like 20 maybe. Early.
So you left Canada when you were 20?
About 20, yeah. Yeah, I got job opportunity, yeah. Because I came back and forth. I wasn't living here permanently.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. I just kind of want to get a baseline understanding of the dynamics of, dating in Canada. Like, we got people that's never been to Canada. I've never been there. I've never lived in Canada.
I recommend everybody in the United States travel outside of the United States. Why? Because, it will give you.
Just saying it was too expensive to fly.
Listen. I'm just saying. I recommend when you have a chance, you travel outside the United States just to see what other people are like, just to see what they think about people in the United States, just to get, instead of a hearsay, you actually get an experience about it, right? So you could see what it looks like from other countries. That's all. Right? So you can have it. You can have some insight on that. That's all. I mean, it's just different. Like, like I said, even being from France, speaking French fluently, when I came here and I had a stronger accent, you guys throw the gay word around like it's supposed to be a floss or something, and it's not. And it was like, wow, okay, let's not do that, So it was different. It was a bit different, right? I mean, for me, like I said, where I come from, I put femininity and elegance on two different levels, and that's what I look for in a woman, right? As long as she conducts herself like that, we're going to get along, and that's what I look for. I put it on a very high pedestal for that. So dating, I find in Canada was a lot easier. I just find out here it's what you have, what you do plays a big part. Like, looks and height goes out the window when you're standing on your wallet in the United States. What can you do for me? What can you bring to the table? What do you, this whole question about what are you bringing to the table? Well, I mean, really? Like, really? Like, you don't want to bring nothing?
So I guess, man, like you laid out a few different things that kind of paint, a picture of your perspective on things that
my experience, my perspective.
Yes, correct. And nobody's trying to take that experience from you, because like you know what you experienced in Canada before you came down here. So you got two comparisons. That's why I'm asking the questions.
Right.
That the way that I'm asking them, because I guess the next thing is that when do you see yourself actually going into I guess a mode where you actually trying to date with a purpose to actually get married?
I am dating with a purpose to get married.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I am dating, but I have needs that need to be met too.
Okay.
I am dating with a purpose, but I have needs to be met too. I mean, most men have a bullpen before they get married, right? And women have needs as well. But I know quality when I see it, and I definitely know quality when she opens up her mouth, right? So I put that, like I said, so I am dating with a purpose. That's why I put certain things on a very high level that I will not compromise with, right? And I give everybody, just like they give me a fair chance to show my true colors, I definitely give them a fair chance to show their true colors.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay.
And like I said, the first thing for me is I ask two basic questions. Do you want kids, and do you have kids? That's it. And once they answer that, then I know if we're going to go any further, right? Because I know what I want and what I don't want, and what I will accept and what I don't accept. So I get those questions out of the way permanently, right away. That way I know what category I'm going to put you in.
So you've already changed your environment. You know what I'm saying? To fit whatever it is that your life is. I know your art takes you to where you're going, right? For the most part.
Right.
What other places have you considered changing to, or changing location to? Because you're not married to California.
No, I'm not married to California. But honestly, I gotta admit, man, I love California. I ain't gonna lie. It has everything I need: entertainment, places to drive, scenic views, the beach. I mean, there's always something to do in California around your training, outside training, and you have the nice fall weather that comes in cool, rainy season. I just love California. I mean, am I willing to move? Yeah, my art could take me anywhere. I'm, right now I'm in the state. If you pay me, I'm gone. But yeah, definitely.
Hey, I keep saying it. You better go down to New Orleans, man. You got to go down there.
Listen, I'm on my bucket list
down there.
I am gonna go there this summer. I plan on making a little vacation. I'm going to do the shoes thing. I'm gonna paint some shoes.
Yeah,
I'll take you up on that, Vic. Don't you worry.
Antoine, I got a question for you. I don't want to make it too personal, but at the same time, yeah, like I said, I don't want to make it too personal. If you don't want to answer it, then don't. But why is it that at 43, you haven't, you seem to be have the resources that you need seem to mention that you know how to select a quality woman. So why is it that at this, and you're dating with the purpose to, with the intent to be married, so why is it that you hadn't been able to find this quality type of woman? Like I said, I don't want to make it too personal if you don't want to go there, but I think for the viewers watching, and for men watching, you know, they would look at like, well, you know, why is it that you are not there yet?
Okay, so my story, long story short, and I don't mind answering that because I get, believe it or not, I get that asked a lot. Like, you got, you know, this and that. What I did wrong, and I could say that now in hindsight, I could say that now it was wrong. I focused too much on my career because I moved here because of my career, right? So I focused on that. You know, the first thing I got off when I got off the plane, I looked up at the palm trees and said, "I'm gonna make a killing here." Like, "Ooh, you guys live like this?" I mean, you know, it was a big eye opener. So what I did wrong was I focused on school, I focused on my art, I focused on my purpose. I didn't look left or right. A woman came into my life just to relieve me and go, right? I didn't care if she stayed or go. It was a revolving door because as long as she didn't get pregnant, I didn't have to see her again. That was my mindset. I just wanted to make money. I did not want to struggle. I did not want to save up. I did not want to, let me put this in the bank. When I want to go on vacation now, I go. If I'm going to get married, I write a check. If I want to change my car, I change it. I wanted that lifestyle, but what I did wrong was during my journey, the good ones that did come by, I didn't recognize and I didn't take the time to incorporate them on my journey, right? I looked at it as a distraction, right? I looked at it as, oh, no, I can't, no, I can't come and see you tonight. I got to draw. Oh, no, I got to do this. I got to write this report. So my journey was like that. So I wanted to be comfortable and then say, okay, now that I'm comfortable, you know, I can have a kid to enjoy a kid. I'm not going to be worried about paying for diapers. I'm not going to be, you know, no, I did not want that life. I seen it with other people and I was like, right? I didn't want the whole chain and ball thing. And I was selfish. I admit I was selfish because I didn't want to share nothing, right? And, you know, but my father made sure that, like, I think my father instilled that in me too, because when he moved from Trinidad to Baltimore, you know, he just, you know, he got, you know, fixing jet engines. He got the opportunity of a lifetime. It wasn't a question to my mother. It was like, we moving, boom, gone, right? And he stayed that. So he raised us with that mentality. Guys, please, my sons, I love you all. Become successful because the pickings in women are a lot better and you can have a litter pool. And you can take your time and choose, but I really focused too much on that. That's how I went. I wouldn't recommend that for everybody, right? Because looking back now, I said, man, she was a good one. That one, yeah. You know, the one that got away. I have those stories. And I see a lot of my friends now that are doctors and lawyers, they're in the same boat as me because they said, yeah, man, I was paying school loans. I didn't want nothing to do with a girl. She came in to relieve me and she came in to leave. And they're all in the same boat. So when I speak of guys that make certain amount in certain tax bracket, that's because that's my circle, right? And they're saying the same thing. Now that they're where they're at, it's really hard to find the one. Not only are you picky, right? But you have to give them a chance. So, and you're selfish with your time. You become selfish with your time. And you don't want, and they can't question your time. Like if I'm drawing, I don't want the phone to ring. You ain't gonna hear I love you. You ain't getting none of that. I'll come to bed when I'm ready. But like I said, that was me, right? That's what happened to me. That was my story in a nutshell.
Yeah. Why? Who else want to chime in on why they think it's hard for men to find quality women to marry?
Well, me, man. I'm younger than everybody else on this this talk, but I think it's just a yeah, it's not a flex, but I got some more learning to do. I'm wise enough in my young age to realize that, but I just think that people put a lot of pressure on marriage, man. I mean, Hollywood in the media has put this idea that marriage is this huge wedding and it's this one big like party. I was like, man, it's not like that. Like marriage is a commitment. And we've seen it, like the divorce rate is like over 50% now. Like most marriages end in divorce. That's what it's leaning towards. But it's a cultural shift. And you saying, well, why can't men find quality women? I mean, but at the same time, what's your purpose of getting married? If this generation that's coming up, they don't want kids, they want to travel the world, and at the same time, we got social media. You have access to billions of people, and marriage is more than that. It's sitting down and being able to grow with somebody throughout the years. Like, I married my wife almost 5 years ago. She's a different woman than when I first met her, and I'm a different man. We've gone through things. So marriage is about being able, and I've said this before in our previous talk, is being able to be married to 7 different people over the next 40 or 50 years. Because you're going to go through sickness, health, kids, financial ups and downs. So if you're not willing to be able to lock in and do that with somebody, there's no point to it. And you can say your quality of person changes throughout those years too, man. So it's all about what do you want in your life. Because let's be real, man. Divorce is a bitch. It's expensive. So because I made a comment the other day on Twitter, like, Tiger Woods just became a billionaire again. And I'm pretty sure, I was like, yo, wasn't Tiger a billionaire like 10 years ago? And somebody had to correct me. He's like, yeah, but he was out there in them streets, got caught up, and he had to cut old girl a check. So, and when people start talking about money and finances and things like that, sometimes it's just easier to say, hey, we were in a situationship, or like, Jada said, an entanglement for an extended period of time. So marriage is it's not for the faint of heart. And I think a lot of people are starting to realize that, especially these young generations. So that's my take on it.
And like I said, I want to capitalize. I don't want to get married for kids anyways. It's not like I want to get married for the sake of companionship. I can get that in a dog, right? I mean, I would only get married for kids. That's why it's important to me. That's it. There is no other reason a woman would serve me a purpose for companionship, because I can get that without marriage. And yeah, they talk about the tax breaks and all that. Believe me, it's not that great. But that's another thing why marriage is important to me. That would be my purpose. Loving her, yes, taking care of her, doing all the manly things. I agree with that 100%. But I also was raised and believe that the only reason you come together for a marriage is to also have kids. And if not, if she can't physically have kids, you can adopt them. I'm not putting anything on adoption or anything like that. So that's another thing that's important to me.
Yeah. So I think we just talked about it, like, pretty much ad nauseum. Like, we literally talked about it. Why is it hard for men to find quality women? Let's stop there before we even get to marry, because they haven't yet to define quality in their life yet. So when they have yet to define the quality, how can I look for something I am not aware of exists? Then the other side of the coin, from my perspective, is too many times what I've seen and encountered is that people make marriage the goal instead of learning the person. And I think if you take more time to learn the person, marriage is going to happen naturally. I've talked to several couples aspiring to be married, so forth and so on. And what I found is that they're having two separate conversations. One is looking forward to getting married. One desires to become one with the other person. For me, like I keep saying, my core focus is always the Bible, because that's what I believe in, right? When a man findeth a wife, he findeth a good thing. Well, she already got those qualities. But the issue is that most young men don't know what wife qualities look like. And so what they're doing, they're getting their information from somebody else, or, big mama, or whatever that looks like, right? I'm not saying that it's wrong. It's just, we need to listen to something other than. And once we define what that quality looks like, then that's when we'll know to look. And then again, spend time learning the person, like we previously talked about. Have in-depth conversation. Talk about what potential showstoppers look like in your life. You know what I'm saying? What triggers you? Why does that trigger you? You know what I'm saying? Have those in-depth conversations, because trust me, bad news doesn't get better with time. So you want to get the bad news out early. Let's talk. Don't do body counts. I'm sorry, don't do that. But right, let's start having the necessary conversations that will come up if you just allow life to happen. Then once you get there and you find that every day goes by and you find out that, you know what, I'm kind of missing her, or, so forth and so on. And I prefer to be with her more than not. Now it's time to start talking about going to the other side, what marriage look like. But again, don't make marriage to go, make learning the person to go.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I think why is it hard for men to find quality women to marry? I think a lot of men got some delusional expectations. Like let's just go ahead and go there. You know what I'm saying? Like we have what we have now since Kevin Samuels passed. We have extremist women and extremist men that are single and really not communicating well with each other. You know what I'm saying? It's some delusional people in the entire conversation. You know what I'm saying? So I think that most importantly, we have to talk about reasonable people first. You know what I'm saying? So like we start with the reasonable people first. I think you work out of that first. You know what I'm saying? You got to figure out what the pool is. You know what I'm saying? And like, case in point, book plug. You know what I'm saying? We got to start with people that got some code about themselves. So hey, everybody get your book out. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's see who got it. Come on, coach, you on the road? Oh man,
Who's traveling right now?
Come on, man.
I'd have mine, but I just moved, dog. And mine is in storage.
Hey, it's all right. You know what I'm saying? Hey, look, pop quiz. That's all it was. And the point being is that you got to have a standard by which you live. You know what I'm saying? So if your standard of how you conduct yourself is solid, it's going to give you a lot of opportunities. So like for instance, right now, Ed saying music got these females thinking that being a thot is what's in. We don't care about those women, so they're irrelevant. You know what I'm saying? There's always going to be somebody that's not going to make the cut anyway. So we're not talking about people that's easily influenced by entertainment to that degree anyway. It's plenty of women that don't give a shit about what's going on in entertainment. They're not easily influenced by it. Some people know how to separate what's entertainment from what's reality. So
you're right, Vic, on that, because when people talk like that, thinking, I just saw that, thinking of music, quality women don't think like that. Like I don't understand where that comes from.
No,
quality women don't think like that.
The women that fit the dare I say, the women that fit the description of what we're talking about don't behave the way that is being described. You know what I'm saying? Like those aren't the people that you want to date anyway. So number one, you know what I'm saying, you got to have your own boundaries. You know what I'm saying? And most men got there's a lot of men with a lot of unrealistic expectations that put crazy requirements on what they want in the world, but at the same time not being willing to be more flexible in where they have different experiences. You know what I'm saying? So like if you're in an environment and you're demanding something from that environment and it's not there, at some point you're your own resistance. That's all I'm saying.
I can roll with that. Who else? What did you got left on this topic, Antoine?
Nothing really. I mean, listen, Vic's pretty much summed it up, because, like I said, we're here talking about what we want, and you have to be realistic, man. Like, I'm very realistic on what I want. I'm not even asking for much, right? I'm not asking for much. I've worked on myself that I'm ready. And if it comes, great. If it doesn't come, okay. One way or the other, I'm gonna get my baby. Just joking. That was a joke. Oh yeah, this is live. I can't be doing that.
Antoine just said he
Yeah,
wanted
they're already eating your ass up in the comments.
One way or another, you know.
This be live. I can't be doing that.
Hey, y'all see what I'm saying? I don't need to say nothing else. Thank you, Antoine.
That's what I heard, Vic. I ain't gonna lie. Baby daddy for hire.
Hey, Antoine want to be a baby daddy. He said, either way, I'm getting my baby.
Listen,
boy, that's some sassy shit to say right there.
I don't mind.
Antoine want to be a baby daddy?
Well, no, that ain't never gonna happen. No, I ain't into that baby mama, baby dad. I ain't doing none of that. No, I'm gonna marry first. If it doesn't work out, I'm cool with that. But no, I mean, people, listen. Let's be realistic. You can want what you want, just don't expect delusional results. That's all. You know what I mean? That's all I'm saying. You can want what you want, like Vic says. Make sure you can afford what you can buy. And want what you want, don't expect delusional results.
What's considered a delusional result versus something that may be a reality? Or
say that again.
I said, what's something that may be delusional versus something that may be a reality for someone?
In today's world, I'd say, wanting a dime and having nothing in your pocket, wanting a dime of a woman and having nothing in your pocket, but you believe you can get it because you're good looking. It ain't going. I mean, no. At the end of the day, no, you can't. No,
You must ain't watched no Tyler Perry movies here lately.
Well, that's why they're called movies, right? I mean, you know what I mean?
There's always a little bit of truth in these jokes now.
Right? It's always like, really? Like, no, it doesn't happen. You don't sail off into the sunset, nothing in your pockets, right? And women have to be realistic too. Don't expect a man to have a 100K car and you're rolling out of it. I keep saying that. Like, no.
We don't even talk about women though. We just need to talk about.
We don't talk about women, but if I want a woman's gonna look the part. If my car costs a certain amount, she's gonna look like she's getting out of that car looking like that. That's it. I mean, she's gonna dress the part for wherever she goes. Exactly. That's how it's gonna be. I'm not asking for much, right? If it's a black tie event, you don't come in a hoochie dress. I ain't asking much. Like, she's gonna know her place, and I'm gonna know mine. And I think people need to be realistic.
Antoine, do you think it's a shortage of women who may qualify as wives in general?
No.
I honestly, I do. I think there is a shortage of quality wives. I think there are a lot of great women out there, but I think that as far as if you're looking for a wife, I think wives are different than just
one. Oh yeah.
So wives, if you want to be a wife, I think there's a certain look that comes along with that for the person who wants a certain type of wife. You know what I mean? So like I said, I think there's a lot of good women out there, but I don't think every woman is meant to be a wife. And I don't think that, me personally, that there are a lot of wives out there. I think a lot of women think that they're wives, but the reality and the data doesn't show that. So
that's true. A wife is another higher level mindset, I would say. Definitely. I agree with you on that.
But I'd like to ask that question to you guys. Do y'all think that there's not necessarily a shortage of wives? Do y'all think that do y'all think that there's a shortage of wives out there?
I think it's a shortage of men that qualify, you know what I'm saying, for specific type of women. I think it's a shortage on both sides in terms of connectivity. I think the conversation is not being presented in an unhealthy way. It's a lot of unhealthy competition and people trying to say that they can do for themselves and say, I don't need you for this. People are quick to say what they don't need from somebody else versus being transparent and vulnerable about what they need in a mate if they desire to be in a committed relationship that leads to marriage. And I think that starts with participation, which goes back to being attraction gets you, pointed in a certain direction, but participation validates that attraction. And then you have to actually like the person, because plenty of us know people that are really good at something that we don't like, and we still have to work with them. You know what I'm saying? So, and we go clock in for that, or have clocked in for that. I'm sure that's the fact for a lot of people that's, that work a 9 to 5, you know what I'm saying? Because you try to find people that are around your rhythm. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you work 9 to 5 and all the quality women are, are available between 4 and 6, you might have to get your ass up a little bit earlier. You know what I'm saying? And be in that space. You have to go where the opportunity is, because if it's not happening on your regular rotation, you'll never get what you're supposed to have if you don't do something you've never done. And I think that's the part where I say people are delusional on both sides. People want to be able to stay on their same routine and meet the love of their life. And I don't think that it works that way. You know what I'm saying? So I think the conversation, a realistic conversation that's rooted in reason, has to happen first. You have to create dialogue in order to bring people to the conversation, to see who is worth talking to. Like you want to go to you want to go on Jerry Springer or you know what I'm saying, some other weird show to go try to meet your mate, or you want to go to places where folks are actually working with skills, right? That's why I said Home Depot, Lowe's, and the gym. You know what I'm saying? So like, if you start there, you're gonna meet a completely demographic of people. You know what I'm saying? Just simply because you're gonna be the new face. You have to go make yourself available too. So, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You gotta go, you know what I'm saying, mark your territory a little bit too.
Yeah. You know, with new information, you know, you get, start thinking about things. And as you were talking, I was not necessarily retracting my statement, but readjusting my statement. It may not necessarily be a shortage, but I think it may be a shortage of people that are having the proper conversations about what the two people want in the relationship. You know what I mean? So, a lot of times people get together, but they don't have those conversations that need to be had early on in a relationship, and then they're and not dating with intent, and then are surprised that the relationship doesn't work out. So I would say that part of the problem, may not be following the may not necessarily be about the quality of woman to marry. It may be about the quality of the conversations that's being had initially in the relationship. So
But
would say
but
someone.
we can all agree being a wife is a mindset. It's not just, not every woman. I mean, it's a mindset, right? When you're a wife, because it's not about you anymore. It's about your husband and the family. So it's a certain level of mindset. Like after you've done it all, okay, it's time to have kids. That's a certain mindset now because it's a different form of patience. And I'm sure
Yes
I'll
and no.
speak on that.
Yes and no. I would say mindset, yes, but at the same time, it's the role that the wife is going to
Wife,
play in the
exactly.
relationship. Yeah.
Right.
So
Okay.
every wife is not necessarily going to be a stay-at-home mom,
Right.
and
But
some
to be
wives are going to be 50-50. All different types of relationships, all different roles for wives and
right.
husbands in
Yeah,
their relationships.
I agree with
What
that.
you got, Coach?
Yeah, so this kind of goes back to what I said earlier. You hit the nail on the head. We got bad news doesn't get better with time. You got to have the difficult conversation up front. And when you have those conversations, that's when you make space for learning one another. Do I think that there's a shortage of quality women out there for to be wives, or however you pose the question? I'm not qualified to make that statement, nor am I qualified to say there's a shortage of quality men out there to be husbands. But what I will say is that there's a shortage of people out there who are completely honest with themselves to understand and even relate that they have not done everything right in life. And so what ends up happening, like Vic says, you will, and I don't want to misquote what you said, but you become delusional when you just want someone to conform to your lifestyle. That's not realistic. And so again, I think both sides need to learn first within their own in group, and then with the other group. Right? We need, as men need to learn how to become better men. Right? It takes men to teach men to be better. Women need to teach women how to become better women, and then both men and women come together so that they can understand how to live together in harmony so that we can extend our culture. That's really how it should be. I got my book, man, but I got the book. Stop playing.
Yeah, we got the book. We all got the book. Everybody except for Antoine.
It kills me when he does that, man.
Hey, I wanna kind of touch on what Ed said. Ed, I hope you don't mind me calling you Ed, bro. He said facts. Sometimes some people will lie. I agree 100%. That's why it's necessary to take the time so that you can learn that person in the midst of it. Trust me, a person can't keep a facade for but so long. They're going to tell you a lie up front, but eventually the real them is going to show up. When that real person shows up, believe them. I need to see you in all facets of life. What do you
Yep.
look when you're happy? When you're experiencing joy. What do you look like when you are extremely mad? That right there is going to tell me the truth. The truth always comes out when a person is mad. How do you handle the ebbs and flow of life? And so that becomes revealing when it comes down to whether or not I want to attach myself to that, or is it not so bad to where we can work with that, to where we can help one another as we both experience the ebbs and flow. So great point, Ed. I appreciate you saying that, brother.
I agree with that. Hmm.
Hey, this is our first live show. I want to thank everybody for coming out. But before we do, I want to give everybody on the panel a chance to give any types of final thoughts when it comes to this topic. So everybody, we're just gonna go around the horn and then we're gonna close out.
We're gonna start with
Hey,
the youngest first. We're gonna get JL because I know his kids probably about to climb up on his legs or something in a minute.
Yeah, man. I already got one at my office door, but obviously, yeah, he had his face pressed up against the glass and everything. But
that's cute, man.
I'll just leave our viewers with this from my personal perspective. Like I said earlier, man, it's about being a quality man and being a quality woman. I mean, in your own perspective ways. Go into a relationship, like Coach said, being truthful, having those open-ended conversations, and don't let everybody in your business, man. Like, I think a lot of people get caught up in that. They go out and seek these third and fourth party opinions, and they go and talk to, family members and friends and want their 2 cents. And not everybody has the whole story. You know what's right for you and what brings you peace within your own four walls of your home. So as long as you operating in a sense of like being honest and open and want to treat the person that you want in your life with love and respect and want them to do the same for you, I think you'll be in a good position. And as long as like we've been harping on working on yourself, I think you'll set yourself up for success to be in a loving relationship for as ever long as you keep that perspective up. So that's all I'm gonna say.
Well, I'm gonna go next. I'm gonna let Coach or Vic finish out. I think one thing that men ought to continue to do is to work on themselves, and at the same time, be working. If they want to find a spouse or a wife or a long-term partner or whatever it may be, that they need to be working on that too, learning more about themselves to know what type of person is best for them in their life. So the more you know about yourself, the more you're going to know what type of woman is going to fit best in your life. So that's all I got. That's my 2 cents.
Let's see. I would say, stay on your purpose, achieve all your goals, focus on that. Don't over focus. Yeah, just stay on your purpose, achieve all your goals, work towards what you want to work towards, achieve whatever it is you need to achieve. But like they say, sometimes stick your head out and smell the roses. But in the end, I'll say it again, you're as good as the company you keep.
Hey, so I'm gonna go ahead and jump on. And I agree with everything that everyone said so far. I believe that marriage itself has been over glamorized to where it has lost its true nature. Let's just go, and I think JL kind of started this in the beginning when he mentioned it. I agree with that 100%. Let's be completely honest what a marriage is. A marriage is the coming together of two families. That's what it is, with two people being the core nucleus. Now, that relationship itself includes, it's going to be a combination of about six different people. I got it. We want to keep as many people out of it, but let's be honest. She got her mama, her dad. I got my mama and my daddy, and we're trying to figure out how to make their teachings work under one roof. It is going to be a very difficult task, and it is probably going to be one of the most humbling things that you ever do in your life next to being a parent. So what we have to understand is in order for it to work, like we've been saying all night long, we have to continue to work on ourselves. I have to work on me, not force her to work on her. She has to work on her, not force me to work on me. If we do it in that capacity, then we will both individually work on each other, and then together we'll come together. And then in that space, we can grow together as well, because through the art of conversation, we start learning certain things that were never revealed to us from other people who claimed they cared about us. So, in that space of healthy communication that is void of competition, that is void of any name calling or any other thing that we've experienced in the past, to where we are working in a space to where we're healthy for one another, to where we lift each other up and esteem each other higher than ourselves. What we can do is we can create a relationship that not only teaches our children how to be healthy and responsible young adults, but it also brings value to our community as a whole. Because I've been saying it for the longest, and I'm going to say it again. When the family becomes healthy, the community thrives. Anything outside of that, we're just simply putting a band-aid on what we call life. But in order for us to fix our communities, we have to go back in the homes and fix our families. That means dads got to go back home and take their rightful responsibility. Even if you and mama don't work, still be a functional part of that. You know what I'm saying? Be able to communicate, from a different perspective. I got it. It may not be comfortable, but those kids need you. And what we have to understand is the unity of husband and wife is the nucleus behind the foundation of a good, healthy community.
So, Coach, you always leave me a word that I'm already gonna pivot off of, and I just wrote in the comments so everybody can see it. It's if it pops up, because I know it's a delay on it coming up here, but I wrote in the unhealthy competition so we can actually communicate, because a lot of times people are reacting before they actually communicate. Like the reaction is just a symptom to an issue, but that's not the problem. It's just the reaction. And all of us are guilty of this, you know what I'm saying, to some degree. We had to be guilty of this in order to be able to have this conversation, because we got to know what right looks like. We know what wrong looks like. We know what, what it takes to be useful to somebody else also, too, because you have to bring something to the table. I don't like saying that. I like actually just be useful, because there are a lot of useless people. There's a lot of people out there that hadn't completed anything since high school. There's a lot of people that ain't good at shit. You know what I'm saying? But being disagreeable. And question is down there said, I just need everyone to tell me what a quality woman is, not your perspective, but what is one? A compatible woman. One that doesn't compete with you, and one that gets behind your efforts and reciprocates. You know what I'm saying? There's a fair exchange in both protection and nurturing. You know what I'm saying? That is a healthy competition with each other. You know what I'm saying? The unhealthy competition is when you're trying to alter a way that a person feels because you want to be negative off the bat. You're always refuting things. You're bringing opposition instead of support. You bring in doubt and problems before you bring resources and options. You know what I'm saying? So I think if you find yourself on one of those ends of the spectrum where you're the person that's always bringing the topic that changes the course of the feelings that a person is experiencing, you got to stop for a minute and probably breathe, and maybe you need to write your stuff down and read it back to yourself before you decide to say it to somebody. You know what I'm saying? There's a multitude of different ways. That's why I started writing books. You know what I'm saying? Because I've understood all my life that I'm going to be misunderstood. I've understood that I'm going to be misinterpreted. I can write a five-word sentence and people will just lose whatever bearing they got, you know what I'm saying, and think that I'm being malicious towards them. But there is a method to the madness once you start unpacking these things, because the words had to come from somewhere, and it had to be a lot behind it before it to be so succinct, right? Sometimes we take acute feelings to a person that has never experienced what you're about to put them in, and they don't know what to do with it. So they're going to react in a defensive posture, operating off scarcity, operating off survival. Like some of the things you're talking about is when you're operating on survival, all you're worried about is eating and sleeping safely so you can get back up and fight the good fight again that day. But I tell people to find your purpose, find something you're good at, monetize it, and then relieve all the unhealthy competition, not just with money, but with resources, networks, and things of that nature that makes your life a lot more comfortable, where you can see things better. Because I always ask this too. If you remove the need for money, like meaning like your health is in check, all your bills paid, and you don't have to go work for nobody, right? Who are you? Because you are what you get up and do every day at some point after repetition. You know what I'm saying? If you get up and you fight the rat race in traffic, you go get belittled at your job or go unrecognized or something like that, you walking around with a salty demeanor because you're giving all your energy over here with little to show for it, you're not going to be compatible with a lot of people. You know what I'm saying? Because you got to think about it. Who wants to hear your gripe when you go home? You don't even want to have a gripe going home. So do the work that it takes to take the gripes out of your life in the unhealthy competition so we can communicate and we can get to a reasonable space where we can put together these ideas, these relationships, and actually move forward in our culture. And that's Cody.
Hey, I like it. Hey, thank you all for tuning in today. We will be back next week live with another great topic. Make sure you hit the subscribe button on your way out the door and check us out for other videos on the Unkle Jr. Network over on YouTube. We are out.